Next up, delighted to have back a very popular speaker from the LSP side. I'd like to welcome to the podium Bradley Jacobs, the Chairman and CEO of XPO Logistics. Thank you. Sorry. Don't rush it, don't rush it necessarily. But, okay. Yeah.
Good morning. Very happy to be here. Louis, I always learn things coming to this conference. What I've learned in the last couple hours has been amazing. One thing I've learned, I always realized that China was so much bigger than us and growing faster than us, but I never realized how much until I saw those two presentations. And I thought it was very interesting, the PwC slide, it had a code for China slowing growth, plus 65%. The amount of growth in China is just amazing. I want to talk about something a little bit different. I want to talk about what, in my humble opinion, is necessary in order to succeed as an organization, how to grow, how to keep your employees happy, how to keep your customers happy. And the key word is intimacy. And I'd like to ask everyone, my colleagues, my peers here in the audience, to think about, in terms of professional intimacy, what is the single most intimate thing that you can do with your fellow employees, with your customers? Don't get us in trouble with HR. I'm talking professional intimacy here. What's the most intimate thing you can do with your boss, with your fellow workers, with your reports, with your customers, without getting in trouble with HR? What's the most intimate thing you can do? Well, let me give you a hint. We looked it up on the internet yesterday. This is the definition we saw. Closely acquainted, close, dear, cherished, faithful, devoted, familiar, private, confidential, innermost, deep, confidant. Nice words. Why am I mentioning this? Because the construct that I'm proposing is that in order to succeed, in order to be fabulously successful, you must create an organization of people that's intimate with each other and is intimate with the customer. And you have to do the first thing first. You have to get everyone in the organization very comfortable with each other, very open with each other. And if you go to the next slide, this is what I came up with as my definition of intimate. Wholehearted attention that's respectful and non-judgmental. Giving someone your 100% full attention, blotting out the whole rest of the universe, just concentrating on that one person with all your senses and being non-judgmental, really listening in a respectful way. And I found in my corporate career that that one simple secret is what determines success. How much can you get the people in the organization to be respectful towards each other, to be intimate? And we found that there's really three basic human needs, human desires, that if you can fulfill them in the company, they will become intimate and you will succeed. And those three prongs are honesty, growth, and connection. People want to be honest, and people want to deal with people who are honest. And if you can create a culture where people are motivated, inspired, incentivized, rewarded to be honest with each other, wow, you can move mountains. People want to grow. People don't want to stay stagnant. People want personal growth. They want to grow their sphere of influence, grow their sphere of knowledge. They want to expand. And people want to connect. People want to have relationships that are deep, that are serious, that are real, that are meaningful, that are purposeful. Let me show you some definitions that we found on the internet yesterday. Honest, free of deceit, truthful, sincere, candid, frank, open, forthright, plain speaking, upfront, and above board. Let me show you some definitions that we found for grow. Become larger or greater, increase in size, expand, flourish, broaden, develop, diversify, build up, branch out, spread, and connect. To bring together so that a link is established, join together to provide access and communication, be in harmony with another person, be united for a specific purpose. So since I was here last year, we won 2 awards at XPO Logistics. One was, and they're not unrelated, one helped the other. They went hand in hand. Fortune magazine rated XPO the fastest growing Fortune 500 company, and Forbes magazine ranked us as one of the, I forget the exact words, but the best places to work for an employee in America. So these are really great honors. Of the 2, the second one is more valuable than the first in my mind, but they absolutely go together because the growth contributes one of the factors that's necessary to be a great place to work. Let's look at the definition of succeed. To achieve the desired aim or result, do well, attain a goal, flourish, thrive, be effective, accomplish what is attempted or intended. And that's the definition of success. Let's drill down and talk about each one of these things a little bit more. So honesty, and how does it relate to XPO Logistics and industry as a whole? So we won an award in our LTL group last year. We're the second largest LTL provider in North America. We're the largest LTL provider in certain countries in Western Europe. And I was very, very proud we won the Mastio Award for most on-time pickup, most on-time delivery. And the one I liked the most was they do a word bubble, and they ask 2,500 customers what word or words come to mind when you think of, and they give you the names of 20 different vendors. And when they said XPO Logistics, the answer was reliable. So reliable was the most frequently used word describing the company in the LTL context. This comes down to honesty. When you can get an honest relationship between individuals in the company, between groups in the company, between geographies in the company, and then as an organization you have an honest culture, one that's truthful, and then you can approach the market and approach your customers with no BS, with no complications, with no unnecessary nonsense, but just clear thinking, full transparency. It creates an amazing platform for success. Let's flip over to connect. I found an interesting set of research came out of Penn and Harvard the last 3 years that measures happiness and what correlates with happiness. What people who are more happy, what do they have more of? What do they do more of? What's the trick? What's the success? What's the secret there? And the results were very counterintuitive. First of all, once you reach over the poverty level, there is no correlation whatsoever between your net worth and how happy you are. Absolutely none. There's no correlation once you get over the poverty level of how much money you make and how happy you are. There was no correlation, this was also very counterintuitive, whether you had children or not. And most of us, including me, I have 4 lovely children, got a lot of happiness from them. I always thought that, gee, you know, it's nice to have children. You have children, they do bring you a lot of happiness. But there's no correlation when you look at these studies between people who have children, people who don't have children, and how happy they are. What was there a correlation with? There was a correlation with people who had a long-term committed relationship, married or otherwise, but a long-term committed relationship, people who had that were happier. People who didn't have that were not happier. We're not as happy. That goes to the connection need, the need of the human to connect. And you bring that down to the corporate level, if you can. So we have 88,000 people in our organization, and we have 55,000 customers. So what is my job? My job is to make sure that I do everything I possibly can to organize ourselves so that each of those 88,000 employees who come to work collectively for about 750,000 hours a day interact with each other in a constructive way, that they connect, that information doesn't get siloed, that best practices that we have in France are transferred to Michigan, and things that we're doing great in one business unit are transferred over to another part of the company, and that issues and problems that exist in any part of the company bubble up and are communicated so we can quickly be aware of them and solve them. That's the main job of a CEO, is to unlock the valuable information that is stuck in each one of those, in my case, 88,000 employees, and liberate it and unleash it so it's shared with the other 87,999 people to everyone's benefit. And then once you have that flowing information and that connection between the employees, then you're prepared to go to market to your customer in a very powerful way. Then you're having each person who's going to the customer, and every customer that we have, including and especially in the auto industry, it's not a one-person relationship. There's large teams that are serving that customer. You're going to that customer with the power of the whole organization. So instead of what just one individual knows or what team knows, you're going with the benefit of the knowledge of the entire organization. Let me give you some specific examples of work streams that we're actually doing inside the company in order to create a world-class transportation and logistics company. So we have about 750 contract logistics facilities around the world, warehouses. And we get all kinds of awards for our contract logistics business, our supply chain business. And I believe we're the fastest growing contract logistics company. We're growing about twice the market share, end markets are growing as fast as the end markets are growing. So we must be doing something right. But we're not perfect. If you look at those 750 warehouse facilities, some of them are really fantastic. A++ in terms of productivity, in terms of efficiency, in terms of low injuries, low accidents, customer satisfaction. It's off the charts great. But that's a minority of them. And then we have a great deal of them that are very good. Compared to many competitors, they're amazingly excellent. But they're not as good as those top ones. And then we have some that are just good, but they're not great. So what we're doing is we're studying objectively we're on a big mission to find out from our own employees and from our customers, what is it that we're doing great in those top decile that are just knocking the leather off the ball that's making those so much more superior than the others. And then we're standardizing that, transferring that to the others of the 750 warehouse facilities. Same exact thing we're doing in the LTL and in the truckload on the cross-dock facilities. We have about 450 cross-dock facilities worldwide. Same exact kind of bell curve. On average, they're above industry average in performance. We get awards, we get growth, we have customer validation, we know that. But it's not perfect by a long shot. And we have a small subset that really are great, that the metrics are off the chart. The KPIs are just fantastic. So Tony Brooks, who's the president of our LTL group, was just briefing me yesterday on a playbook that he and his team have created that's going to have engineered standards that does that exact same process that I was just mentioning in the warehouse, where we figure out how do you optimize P&D, how do you optimize cross-dock efficiency, how do you optimize the line haul, how are these ones that are doing wonderfully, what precisely are they doing? And he's written a playbook, literally a playbook, and he's going about training every single one of those service centers in that playbook. And the third area I want to talk about is technology. So technology is the single biggest friend and enemy of the automotive industry in my mind. Huge, huge disruption. And I agree with what Jim said earlier, that Mary Barra said about the next 5 years are going to change the automotive industry more than since the beginning of the automotive industry. That just the changes are really, really impactful. We have about 1,500 full-time technology people on the payroll. We empower them with a little over $400 million to spend, to innovate, to stay ahead of the curve, to be avant-garde. But what we really empower them with is our feedback loops. Feedback loops from our own employees and feedback loops with our customers. To be constantly asking them and making it easy for them to tell us, what is it that our technology is doing well and you want more of? What is it that our technology is not doing well and you want us to fix? Because we want to fix it. And what are we not doing yet, and that our competitors may not even be doing yet, that you want us to do? What would be your ideal, fantasy, perfect IT provider? And we get answers to that question. So I noticed in Jim's speech, he gave out his email, which I thought was really brilliant. He said it was his first name, last name at gm.com. And he asked for ideas. And he mentioned that in the vendor meetings, He asks vendors for their best idea of how they can improve the business. Well, that's exactly what we're doing all across our company, and particularly in technology, where we get literally thousands of suggestions of how to improve our technology every single week. So I could go on and on with a bunch of other examples, but I think I've made my point, that what we're trying to do as a company is to create an intimate environment by fulfilling three basic needs: to have honest relationships with each other, to give opportunities to grow, and to connect. And we believe that creating an intimate environment by fulfilling those three basic needs is the formula for our success. Thank you, Louis. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.